Here we go live. Hey, everybody, we're going live. Getting ready to do the radio show. And, of course, we like to jump in here and say hi to everybody that watches us live before we do the actual recording of the show. And so I just wanted to say hi to everybody. I look quite orangey today because I don't have the studio light on in here, so just getting the sunlight and reflection from the background here. But
yeah, that looks pretty nice there. Looks like it's a beautiful day in the Atlanta metro.
Tis a lovely day in Atlanta metro, yeah.
You're like 40 minutes from Atlanta, aren't you?
Yes, and that's a straight line. That's not. It takes me 40 minutes to get there. I mean, it's literally a straight line from here to Atlanta, and it's 40 minutes away. So, it's you know.
And how many miles is that from Atlanta?
I don't know. Depends on how fast you're going, I guess.
Depends on the traffic.
The mileage changes depending on how fast you go.
Yeah, yeah. You're up.
If you go slow, it's 30
north.
miles. If you go fast, it's 50 miles.
Yeah.
I don't know how that works, man.
Now you're north and east of Atlanta, right?
Mostly east, but yeah, a little bit north.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, a little bit north. Okay.
Yep.
Snellville.
It's
named by Dr. Seuss.
It does. It sounds like it was named by Dr. Seuss. All the Snells in Snellville.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's it's a nice little day out here. Hopefully everybody's doing well. We're going to be talking about some fun stuff today. In fact, Let me show you what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about interesting ways to find new clients with an exclamation point. If it didn't have an exclamation point, it wouldn't be as important. Just so you know.
I got to add that.
And the funny thing is, it actually stems from a video I made last night. I don't know if you saw that, Steve. Did you see the video I made last night?
Was it the one on Yelp and
Yes.
all the directories? Yeah. Okay. I didn't. I saw it. I haven't watched it yet. But
yeah, it's me ranting about how people are wasting their money with those numbskulls.
You know, Fireman Mike Lemoyne, who I consider one of the best SEO guys out there, if a client doesn't have Yelp, he advises them not to open it up. He hates Yelp.
I don't hate Yelp. I just don't want people paying Yelp to make a video for them.
Well, okay, let me ask you something, because you probably know more about it than me because I haven't paid attention. But remember when Yelp, all they put on there was bad reviews and you had to pay them to get the good reviews on there? Did they quit doing that?
Well, I don't think they ever actually did that, but that's certainly what it seemed like anyway.
Yeah, I sure did. I'm being a little snarky there, by the way.
Yeah,
so.
no, I pointed out, one of the things I pointed out on Yelp last night in the video that I made was that it specifically says on Yelp's website when you have them do a video, one of the FAQs is, can I share this? Can I share my video on my website or on social media? No. Your purchase of your video does not include any distribution rights. So in other words, only for Yelp, and if you stop paying them, you lose the video that you paid for, even though you're in it. You can't distribute it or use it in any way.
What a bunch of idiots.
People pay for it.
I guess. Yeah, I guess. That's stupid.
It sure is. So we're going to kind of talk a little bit about that because we've got, something that happened in our little course. We did our Q&A last night, and that video came out of a question somebody asked, which led me to make that little video rant about Yellow Pages and Yelp and Dex and all those guys.
Yeah, but at least Yellow Pages, when they made the videos, that they were decent videos and they would let you use them any way you wanted.
Well, people did use them any way they want. I'm not sure what the actual rights were to use them in any way you want. But they did put them on YouTube, so therefore you could, use the embed code.
I used them any way I wanted.
Oh, yeah, me too. Doesn't mean it was legal, but doesn't mean it wasn't either. So
good point.
But and the thing I mentioned in there, they've actually changed their policy. You can get a video through Yellow Pages now. Before, you used to have to buy like one of their big packages of everything, and then the video was included. So you were paying $1,500 a month, something like that, to have access to that video. But now you can get just the video from them, and it's $120 a month for the video. And my ranting dealt with what they do with the video and how they. I make a joke in the video because it says, if you make an amateur video and nobody sees it, it's not worth the time and effort. And then I show all of their videos that they've made that have five views, 6 views, aren't optimized. And so remember, you're paying them, but they're telling you if nobody sees it, it's a waste of time and money, and nobody's seeing it. So there we go. All right, we've yapped on here long enough. We haven't even started the show, and we're going off on all this stuff. So with that, Steve, are you ready?
I am ready, Ray.
In here, so let's get ready to start the show.
Let's get ready to rumble.
Here we go. All right. In 5, 4, 3, 2. Hey everybody, it's Ray the Video Guy, and on today's episode, we're going to talk about, what did I call it? Look at that.
Interesting ways to find new clients.
Interesting ways to find new clients. Okay, let's try that again. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. On today's episode of Video Marketing Madness, we're going to talk about interesting ways that you can get clients. And today's episode is made possible by freevideoeditor.co. If you're looking to start editing videos so that when you get those new clients, you have something to sell to them, well, then you need to know how to edit your videos. And you can do it for free by heading over to freevideoeditor.co and downloading the free video editor along with all the goodies that we've created to go along with it. So head on over there now, freevideoeditor.co, and leave off the last M for... There's no M words on the screen.
There's comms there. Teamed.
Teamed. So leave off the last M for teamed. All right, so that's it, freevideoeditor.co. And with that, let's hit the music so we can get this show on the road.
He's Ray the Video Guy, yeah, Ray the Video Guy. His skill is where it's at, even if he's a little fat. He's filled with video expertise and has so much knowledge that you need. His YouTube ninja tricks can make your marketing so sick. He's Ray the Video Guy, yeah, Ray the Video Guy.
And it's the radio show about video marketing madness with Ray the Video Guy, and I'm Steve Sleeper on the Show Podcast Network. I will beg you again, head on over to our Facebook page, Video Marketing Madness, if you haven't already liked it. Either way, click on following and see first, because we just need to build up those views over there. And then the other thing we need to build up is our Apple Podcast, iTunes channel. Head on over there, especially if you got an iPhone, that helps. And subscribe, leave a 5-star review. That's right. And we'll be forever beholding.
We need those 5-star reviews. And of course, we're also on YouTube, so be sure to check us out there.
Oh, that's right.
Well, at Video Marketing Madness, you can actually see archives of the shows in fake video form. So there you go.
Yeah, I just upload the Facebook Lives directly there.
Yes, the newer ones will be Facebook Live. So
that's right.
Newer ones being like an entire year's worth now, but
at least.
At least. But let's not talk about the past. Let's talk about the future.
Yes.
I need like a Swami hat for that. We're going to talk about the future and how you can get new clients for your video or marketing business, or all those fun things that you do. And there's a lot of great ways to be able to get clients, because one of the things that we talk about a lot is the services that you can provide, how you can help people, who you can help. But a lot of times we don't talk about how do you get to those people to make sure that you can provide these services. And that can be one of the hardest parts. And there's a number of ways that we can get creative and do that. Some of them are very straightforward, and you may not like them because they're very straightforward, but they are very effective and can work really well. Some of them are a little, they're still straightforward, but a little foggier. And then we're going to get into some crazy kind of things you can do, some out-of-the-box things that will really help to get those people into the office doors and start having you produce videos and do SEO and whatever other types of things that you do for your clients. So starting off, the basic way, of course, is to start making phone calls. And I know everybody's going to go, I know, because I do that too. I don't want to make a phone call. But I can tell you right now, if you commit yourself even to do 10 calls a day, pick a niche. So for instance, if you're going to be selling videos, or maybe you're going to be selling Google My Business or whatever it is, figure out what it is you're going to be offering, and then pick a niche. So roofers or electricians or plumbers, and start calling. You're going to get a lot of rejection, but you're going to get into some people, and you're going to at least be able to present to them. And if you do that every day, if you choose, I'm going to do 10 a day, and you do that for a week, that's 50 people you've contacted, and you've got a 50 times greater chance of getting a client than you did before. And Steve, what do you say about that? You were a phone caller. And
I was a
door
phone
walker.
jockey for a lot of years, for 30 years, I think. I had it down to a science. If I made 100 calls, I got a customer at one time. I'm sure that's a lot higher than it is now. And I was selling a direct mail program to banks, so it was a higher ticket item. But gosh, there was one year I did $3 million in business doing that. So it is doable. You just have to put on the uniform every day and make those calls. The thing that made it fun for me is I sort of made a game out of it.
There you go.
So did I hear bells?
You know what you heard was the Ring doorbell on my house messaging my phone, which I thought I silenced right before we started, but apparently I didn't. So there you go.
Okay. Oh, you got one of those things. That's
oh my
cool.
gosh! Every time a person walks down the sidewalk, it or a car drives too slowly across the road or something, it sees it and it says, there's motion at your door. So.
Yeah, but anyhow, I'm here to say that cold calling via the phone is it works. You have to develop a system. Look for a guy by the name of Art Subject. It's spelled like SOBCYZAK, and he's got a number of books on how to do that.
Nice. And the funny thing is everybody knows not a lot of people like doing phone calling. In fact, when you come across somebody who enjoys doing it or is very good at it, it can be a real benefit. In fact, I just recently got in touch with somebody. Actually, they got in touch with me, and they love doing phone calling. And so I'm going to be working with them and putting together some stuff with them so they can do phone calling for me. Because quite honestly, it's not something that I enjoy doing. It's tough for me to put aside the time to do it. But when we do, it is very effective. If you can do that, if you can put aside an hour and just make 10 phone calls every day, you're going to get something out of that. You're at least going to meet people, and maybe they won't buy from you today, but if you talk to them, they might remember you a lot more a week from now, a month from now, when they need your services, and that's going to be a big help. Now, one thing to say with that is I've got a friend, many of you may know him, his name's Kenny King, and he's got some really interesting things to say about that, and I'm going to share something a little bit later that pertains to that. But Steve, you have something you wanted to say about that.
Well, yeah, and Kenny King's got some good stuff. I bought one of his courses and went through it just for my own edification. But
yep.
The one thing you want to do is, make sure you become friends with the gatekeeper. Because, for instance, if you're calling an attorney, you're not going to get through to him. But you want to be friends with the gatekeeper and just be honest with them. Say, hey, look, I do this and that.
Sorry, I said Kenny King, and I meant Kenny Cannon. I'm like, wait a minute, what am I saying?
Kenny Cannon, yeah.
Kenny
right.
Cannon.
Yeah,
Sorry,
yeah.
Kenny.
I knew who you meant. But you want to get to be friends with the gatekeeper and relate to them, because they'll, if you befriend them as best you can, they'll try to help you. Just be honest with them.
Nice. And that's, and that truly can be the case. And I remember going through a training course on sales where these guys would take that to the extreme. They would go to the office and just bring the secretary donuts, and not sell anything. Just be like, hey, I just was coming in the area and I wanted to give you guys some donuts. And then he'd leave. And that'd be it. So, they got to know him. And then when he really wanted to make a sale, they would let him in. So he would do those kinds of things. And he even talked about how in some cases he would do things like he would send the gatekeeper, if it was a woman, he might send the gatekeeper a really nice set of earrings, but only give her one of them. And then he would keep the other one until he was able to get in, and then give her the other one to match it. And we're talking about nice ones. We're not talking about, Kmart $5 things. We're talking about he would buy really nice ones,
Wow.
for this, and said it was very effective to do that. People, those gatekeepers have more power than you might think sometimes.
Oh, absolutely. Was that something Kenny Cannon did?
No, that's something I heard years and years and years ago. And the person
Kenny King did it? Kenny King?
Yeah, maybe it was Kenny King, the boxer, who did it. But no, many, many years ago, the person who was talking about it, they did a lot of these kinds of things with businesses, and they also did it with trade shows. So they would, they would go through trade show lists. And by the way, trade shows, another great way to get new business. If you can get into a local trade show and start to show off what you do, that can be a big thing. And what this guy would do at the trade shows is he would do the same tactic, except he would figure out, okay, who's coming to this trade show? If it was a trade show for lawyers, he'd find out the list of lawyers that were planning on being there. And he would say, okay, these are the 10 people that I absolutely positively have to talk to. And so what he would do is he would buy very expensive gifts for those 10 people, and he would do the same type of thing. He would send half of it and say, you got to pick up the other half when you come see me. And so that's how he would get them to come and see him. And so same type of things. He would do that with the secretaries. He would do that with the trade shows. So getting to know the secretary, great thing. Doing trade shows, great thing. Both of them can bring in a lot of business. These are much more traditional things, obviously, that work very well. But moving forward into more modern times, instead of the all the phone calling and all of the door knocking and things like that, email is a great way. Now, when we talk about email, this can be a mathematical game. Just like Steve said, if I make 100 phone calls, I'm going to get a sale. Well, with an email, it's going to be a little bit different. If you send 100 emails, you might get a couple of responses. You're not going to necessarily get sales, but you're probably going to get a few responses. And it depends on the type. Yeah, I mean, Steve, you send more emails than anybody I know, I think. So, what's your response rates on that? You're dealing with lawyers mostly.
1,000 a week. And I get a webinar every other week.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's about right. So that's a pretty low response rate, though. Out of 2,000, you get one response. But I got a system for doing it, and the system works, and I can predict what's going to happen.
And that's good. And honestly, it's when you're sending emails, it is kind of blind because you never know if that email ever gets read by anybody anyway. Maybe it's a bad email. You just don't know a lot of times. And so when you're sending out these emails, 1,000 of them, you don't know how many are actually really good emails. Now, you'll be able to see how many people open those emails. You'll be able to see how many people read them, how many people click, but when you look at it and you sent 1,000 and 200 people opened it, 800 people didn't, you don't know for sure. I mean, 400 of those could be emails that went nowhere. They just, they don't exist anymore. And nobody reads them. They just go into some box somewhere, and somebody might see them 5 years from now. But so that's why email can seem like it's very low response. But also, the great thing about email is it only takes you a second to do it. If you want to make 1,000 phone calls, you're going to be spending all, I don't even know how long you'd be spending doing that. You figure at least 3 to 5 minutes per phone call. You're talking 4,000 or 5,000 minutes.
Well, you'd have to, if you were making 150 attempts a day, which some people are, that'd take you a couple weeks to do. Yeah. And now let me say a couple things. I don't do cold phone calls anymore because I did it for so long. I just got burned out on it. And I got to tell you, I'm not like Courtney Costalucky, who loves doing that. And me, not so much, but I did it anyhow. He's kind of a weird guy anyhow. He lives in Puerto Rico. For goodness sake.
I don't know if you've ever met him in person, but yeah, he's a really weird guy. So
yeah, but
and he's probably listening right now, by the way. So
well, that's nothing I wouldn't say to his face. Courtney, you're weird, dude. But with the emails, I got a system. I use Lee Kahuna. I scrape every day. I scrape an attorney. I scrape a plumber every day. And then I aggregate them on Saturday. I clean them up really good. And then when I send them out, I use a very aggressive offer. I'll do some free stuff for you, although you can't say free in an email. And did I just freeze up there a little bit?
Yeah, you look a little janky, but you're right.
Okay. Well, I always look a little janky. But I offer to do some free work for him to see if I can move the needle. So it's an aggressive offer. I get a 22% open rate. And then we talked about how many webinars I get. So I've got a system.
Nice. No, that's good. And I've seen the same thing. I also use Lead Kahuna every single day, multiple times a day. And, we get a lot of great results out of that. Again, you're talking about, you're going to be pulling lots and lots of lots of different, what's the word I'm looking for? You're going to be pulling lots of different emails before you start to get a lot of results. But
you've got to do a lot of data prep.
You do, yes. Yeah. You really want to, you're going to send, like, for instance, right now, I've got a machine just over yonder here, and all it does really is Lead Kahuna. And so right now it's running lawyers in Boston. Yesterday it did lawyers in New York City. And we start sending out these emails, and we start to get results. But, here's one thing that if you get the system down, and I don't want this to turn into a Lead Kahuna webinar, although it probably should because it's worth it. But
best one I found.
Oh, easily. And if you've updated it lately, Steve, there's some new things in there. We'll talk about those later. But with Lead Kahuna, you've got the opportunity to not only email, but you can send voice drops to people. Mm-hmm. And so you go in, and what it'll do is you search, lawyer, personal injury lawyer, Boston. It's going to pull them all up there. Then you can email all the ones that have emails, but then you can also do voicemails to all of them as well. And so a lot of times, what we do is we'll do the emails and we'll see who opens them. We'll do voice drops to the people that opened them. Sometimes we'll just do voice drops to everybody because why not? And when you add the voice drops to the emails, oh, wow. You want to talk about a total difference. Boom, people start calling you back, and they start calling you back fast. And, when they do, it's game on at that point. It really is. And it's very, very effective. So that's one thing that you can do in there is you can add the voice messaging, the phone calls. And I said voice drops. Technically, it's not a voice drop because what it does is it dials out to the number of that business. If it goes to a voicemail, it leaves a certain message. However, if a human picks it up, it says, hey, this is so-and-so, and, we just did this, that, and the other thing. We'd like to talk to you. If you'd like to speak to me right now, press the number 1. Boop, they press number 1, and there you are. And you'd be surprised how many people do. Like the first time I did it, I did not expect people to answer that, but they did. And I'm like, oh, hey, you called me back. Wow, that's amazing. Okay. But yes, it is very effective when you do that. So
now, just a heads up, you're going to get some pissed off people. Just expect it.
You know what? Honestly, I haven't really gotten anybody who like that at all. And I've been doing this for a while. I've gotten a couple of emails. I got one guy who thought I was, it was some sort of scam thing or whatever. And he wasn't mad, and I talked to him, and he was like, oh, okay, because at first he didn't believe it was really, me. He thought, he says, oh, okay, Ray, in quotation marks, thinking this is something from India or whatever. But I picked up the phone and I called him.
Yeah.
And so I said, hey, I just got your email back. I just want you to let you know it really is me. It's not somebody from India or whatever. And it really is me. I was actually looking at your stuff, and that's why I sent you that message. And so he's like, oh, okay. But, that's about the only thing I've really gotten. I haven't really gotten any. I usually either get responses that are, vague. Sometimes they're positive. Sometimes they're just vague that they got it. And then sometimes, it's, you just don't get anything at all. No response.
For the most part, if I get a response that's not a webinar, it's just take me off your list.
I haven't even really gotten that very often because technically they're not on a list.
I get a few. I know. They just don't know, but they don't know.
But I'll tell you this, one other thing that we've been doing this with is I have one of my more passion projects is escape rooms, and we're doing a lot of business for escape rooms, and I've got a directory website that it's a directory of escape rooms.
Right.
And back when I created that directory, I actually paid somebody, an outsourcer, to literally search around the country, find escape rooms, and list them in my site. So they were going and they were checking in California and they were putting them in, and they were going to this place and putting them in. And they did that for a while, and it cost me a bit of money, not a ton, but what I've done now, which has been a whole lot better, I've only been doing this for a couple of weeks because for whatever reason, it never popped into my head until more recently that I should be doing this, is rather than paying somebody to go around and find these things and put them in, why not have the business owners put it in themselves? Yeah. And so I started scraping all the escape rooms in all these different areas and sending out mass messages saying, hey, I've got a free listing site. And I tell them I'm just an escape room guy myself. I do business with escape rooms, and we've designed them and, all that kind of fun stuff. And, we've got this directory. just put your business in there. And sure enough, all of a sudden, boom, people just started putting them in. I start getting emails from people, from escape rooms saying, hey, I got your thing. I put it in there. This is great, And so it's worked out really well. So again, that's a unique way to, obviously I'm not getting a client necessarily out of that. However, they can pay to list themselves higher on the site. So potentially those are clients. But if you look at my end goal wasn't taking cash from somebody on this. My end goal was getting people into my system, and they're putting themselves in my system. So it's a way that I'm getting clients. Now, the next step is, one of the things that we've put together is we sell escape room videos. So those are the, if you don't know what an escape room is, it's a game that you play. You go in, you have to escape in 60 minutes and solve the clues. And we make videos for escape rooms. So, a lot of times they're themed. So it might be, you're trapped in an old mansion and there's a killer after you. So we make a video that is about that, to get the game started. And they'll put that online. They'll put that in the room itself before people start playing. So we do that kind of stuff. We also do marketing for escape rooms. So getting these people, this list of businesses, into my directories, the next step is, of course, to start offering them the videos, to start offering them the SEO work and the Google My Business work and the reviews work and all that kind of fun stuff. So hopefully it'll be very effective, but this is step one. And I've got 800 people, 800 businesses already who have put listings in on that page. So there you go.
That's cool. A little tidbit, and I think this kind of folds in with what we're talking about. One of the things that I do leave my phone number when I do the voice drops and the emails, but I have a time trade account. And if you don't know what time trade is, you click on the link and it goes to my calendar, and you can set up a time for me to call you. In my case, I'm selling webinars basically. So in the email itself, I just say, here's my secure time trade link. It's a HTTPS email, and it's timetrade.com and a series of alphanumeric after it. For the phone calls, I have a vanity URL that points to it. And so, what I'm looking to do is get webinars, and I'm offering them, a chance to let me see if I can move the needle for you. So, yeah.
So that's the biggest way here for me, honestly, is the emails, because it's so easy to do. You're not going to get high percentages necessarily, but you're going to get people to step in and say, yes, I want help with this. And one other thing that we do with this, and this is something that's actually been very effective, and again, I'm not trying to turn this into a lead kahuna and whatever show, but this is something else that they offer, which is a local analyzer. And so what I do is I send out emails to businesses saying, hey, you can run a free report on your business, and you just go to this link and you put it in, and they do. And when they do that, it's going to show them all this information, what directories they're in, what ones they're not in, where they've got incorrect information that's not helping them because it's got the wrong phone number or address. And it's got, it tells them if they have videos on their website or a YouTube channel, or if videos showing up on page 1 of Google. So it checks all those things. It also checks your rating. So it tells you, hey, you've got a overall a 4.2 star rating, and it shows them you've got 5 reviews on Google that are 3 stars, and you got 6 reviews on Facebook that are 5 stars, and all the other sites where you might have star ratings. And then the ones where you don't, it shows that you've got 0. And on any of those items, when they do that, there's a button that says fix this. They click on it, boop, pops up my information. They can put in their information, and we know that they want us to call them. So
now, is that local analyzer, is that an additional cost?
Yes. That is in addition to that. But I mean, just an amazing tool.
Yeah, I think Lead Kahuna is like $200 a year. It's not a lot of money.
It's $297 a year right now. Yeah,
$297. Okay.
Yeah.
How
and
much
by the way, if you want to, and again, this isn't the Lead Kahuna show, but it should be, because it's the most effective thing we're going to talk about.
I think there's a lot of systems, dude.
Yep, and most people that are big into these things do as well. But if you want to learn more about it, you can go to raisebonuses.com/leads, And we did a webinar a little while back, and so you can watch that. It doesn't cost anything to watch the webinar. It'll go through the entire thing and tell you all about how we get the leads off of that and what you can do with them. And by the way, we talk mostly about video and everything. In a program like Lead Kahuna, you're not just getting a name, address, and a phone number. You're getting just ridiculous amounts of data about businesses. You're getting their name, their address, their phone number, their website. What kind of website is it? Is it WordPress? Is it Wix? That kind of a thing. Does it have SSL? How fast is the website? Is it mobile optimized? Does it have a video on it? Does it have is social media attached? Facebook and Twitter, and does it have a lead form on there? Then it gets into all your Google data, and it'll pull their Google data and show you, they're a 5-star on Google. They haven't claimed their listing. They've got 3 bad reviews and 4 good reviews. And here's a person who left a bad review, and here's the bad review they left. And here's a good person and a good review. And then it gives you information about their Instagram and about their Pinterest and about their Facebook and about their Twitter, SEO information, pay-per-click information. Do they have a Facebook pixel? Do they have, ad roll pixel? All these different things. And you get all of this in one shot. And you can then create emails based off of that data. So when I send out an email, and this is where it gets fun, the email that I like to send out, I like to start off going after people for Google My Business because it's an easy way to get in with them, fix their Google My Business. And so when I send an email, I use the data inside of Lead Kahuna that we pull, and it lists all the different things inside the email area. So when I write an email that says something like, hey, did you see what? And then I put, they've got what they call tokens. So you click on bad reviewer number 1. You click that, and now the title of the email is, hey, did you see what, in the little brackets, bad reviewer number 1 said about you on Google? And when they get it, bad reviewer number 1 is replaced with whoever left them the bad review. So for this guy, it says, did you see what John Smith said about you? This one says, did you see what Mary Jones said about you? And the same thing in the email itself. You can put tokens like their star rating. And in the email itself, I like to say something along the lines of, hey, I was searching for, business type, and it'll fill it in with lawyer, electrician, whatever. And I found company name, and it'll fill in their company name in the email. And I noticed what bad reviewer number 1 said about you on Google. And then I put the bad review in there. So I put it in the little brackets. I put the token that says bad review number 1. And so when they get this, it says, I was searching for lawyers in Boston, and I found Jones Law Firm, and I saw what Mary Jones said about you on Google. And then it literally says, these guys suck. I hate their guts, and I wish they would all die. And, it puts that in the email, and I put it in italics and in quotation marks so they know that is a quote from there. And then I say, I realize this is probably not typical and just someone who's angry for some reason and wanted to get revenge, but it has left you with a Google rating of, and I put in the token, and it says, Google score, and it says 3.5. And then I go on to say, that has left you, vulnerable because people are seeing bad things about you, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And if you don't have a 5-star rating, and then I put top maps company in brackets. And so then it says, so that leaves you vulnerable, and people are more likely to choose, Mike Smith Law Firm. So it puts in the person who's the number 1 law firm in the area instead of you. And of course, we know that you're just as good as Mike Smith Law Firm. And so it plays on their ego. It's personalized. It gives information. And, the story I like to tell is, and I wish this happened every time, and I don't want you to think it happens every time, but the first time I ever used Lead Kahuna and sent out one of these emails that said that, I got a frantic phone call just a few minutes later from some guy, and I pick up the phone, and I'm like, hello? And he's like, where'd you see that? I'm like, I'm sorry, who's this? What? He's like, he was talking about the bad review. Where'd you see this bad review? And of course, he sent me PayPal money right then and there to help him out and to fix that. So it can happen that quick. And again, that doesn't happen every time you do this. But the first time I sent it out, it did. And I said, okay, this is good stuff. And it's been very successful for us. So again, there are other tools out there, but this is the one that I use. This is the one that Steve uses. And I've used all of them, and I haven't found one that's better than this, to be perfectly honest with you, that gives you as much information. But anyway.
I've been using all of them for 20 years, and this is the best one. So
yeah. I mean, it really is. And David, if you're listening, You got it. Here you go. You owe us money for this one, I think. It's like free advertising. But no, in all seriousness, it is a very good program. We use it every day. In fact, I don't only just use it for my personal business, but I'm partnered in with another business, and we use it every day now as well there to bring in high level clients and whatnot. So very, very effective email marketing. If you can't get something like Lead Kahuna, there's a lot of tools out there that will pull name, address, phone number, and then you just have to be a little more creative and create your own emails that won't be tokenized, but it'll still be, effective in the same type of manner. So get something to do that. Now, if you have nothing and you're not sure of what tool to buy, you don't have the money to buy a tool, you can always do it manually. You can go to Google Maps and type in, lawyers San Francisco, and you'll see all those dots on the map. Those are all your potential clients. So start clicking on the dots and collecting information about them manually. Just put it into a spreadsheet, and then you can start doing the emailing. These tools are going to make it 100 times faster, and it's going to give you a lot more than just the emails. But at least in this way, you'll get the phone number, you'll get the email, and you can start to do something. And as you make money, then you can put it into a tool to make it better. Yes, Steve?
Lead Kahuna is good from the standpoint that your internet service provider, your ISP, does not see the email going out, and the header and the footer of the email do not show your IP address or anything like that. Nice. So you can't get in trouble with your ISP for doing that. If you're not going to use something like Lead Kahuna, and again, that's the best one I found, and it's the least amount of money and the best one at the same time. Send them out one at a time. Don't do anything else, because I've gotten myself into trouble with my ISP for trying to do that.
The thing with some of these softwares, or if you're doing it manually, now with Lead Kahuna, you can do it with Gmail accounts. And so as long as you stay within, about 100 emails or so a day, you can just use a Gmail account and do it. But here's the great thing. You could have 2 or 3 different Gmail accounts. So if you're mailing out to lawyers with, lawyer marketing at Gmail, you can then send roofer marketing at Gmail, and you can do another 100 that same day, because they're not going to affect each other. But you want to stick to about 100 per day if you're using a Gmail. If you're using G Suite, you're paying the Google paid one, I think you can do like 500. So you can up that higher. But, about 100 to 200 on the regular one. And you're not going to get in trouble necessarily, but they're going to stop sending. So they're going to reach a threshold, and just none of them are going to send anymore. It stops.
Now, what I do, by the way, my steve@stevesleeper.com email is G Suite, but I have steve@stevesmail.info. Doesn't go to any website or anything like that, so I can't get into trouble with my website provider for that. And I have an Office 365 account with GoDaddy. Nice. And you can send out up to 10,000 a day. Now, the most I ever send out in the course of a day is 500, but just a heads up.
Yeah, and with these softwares like Lead Kahuna, you don't have to use Gmail. It's just you can, and it's very, very simple and quick. So, and if that's all that Gmail is for, then you're going to be able to organize things a lot easier. So I've got multiple Gmails. Like I've got one specifically for when I send out for people to fill in the local analyzer. So I've got a reviews one. I've got one specifically for the lawyers that I send out just for that. I've got one that I specifically send out for roofers and things, different things like that. And you just switch them up. You just choose the email you want it to go out on, and boom, you send them out, and you're done. So it's very, very quick and easy, and very, very effective. So,
and one thing I've always thought would be a target market would be bail bondsmen, because they're not letting them run ads anymore.
I didn't know that. That's interesting.
Yeah, they're not letting them run ads anymore. They're typically, I've heard, just from asking around, they're typically okay folks. There is some scuttlebutt about not having cash bonds and everything anymore, but they're still operating legally. Maybe you don't want to market to California or something like that, because they're going to be the most draconian about locking down on them. But Arizona, Nebraska, Wyoming, even Illinois, the Midwestern states and Arizona. It's going to be fairly wide open. And I've always thought that could be a good marketplace because they don't have many options anymore, and there's not a ton of competition. So if you're looking to get them on first page of Google with Google My Business.
The funny thing is, if you leave here and you head to the world famous Mall of America, which is probably about 35 minutes from here, 30 minutes from here, about halfway through the trip, you go down this one main road there, and it's just bail bonds all over the place. There must be 20 of them there, and just boom, boom, boom. I'm assuming there's a jail there somewhere because there's way too many bail bonds places on this one street, just all right in a row. So that might be a good market for that. Right. I didn't realize that they couldn't advertise anymore. So that's interesting. Well,
Google's taking it away. Facebook's taking it away.
Wow.
YouTube. That's Google. Bail Bondsman Row in Atlanta. Yeah, cool.
Yes, indeed. So another thing that you can do now, let's get into those are kind of the more traditional things: making phone calls, doing emails, obviously sending out flyers. Which, by the way, again, we're gonna go back to in Lead Kahuna. You can create flyers and mail them out directly from the software as well. So you can do traditional mail, but traditional mail is another way that can be very effective. If you put together a flyer or even a letter, you can send them out to businesses. Obviously, that's a slower thing. Returns are, it costs more, and the returns are not fantastic. But you think about it, if you sent out 100 of these and one person becomes a client, you more than pay for that and profit off of it. So it can be worth it. So that's another way. Those are the more old school traditional ways. And Steve, you've got something to say about that, don't you?
Remember when I used to send out the recipe cards?
I do. I do remember.
I'd send them out to everybody that knew me, that I was in contact with, customers and prospects. And it was a good way to stay in front of them. And that was fairly efficient. I had to cut some costs, and so I cut that out. But actually, when I got out of the banking business, that's when I did that. But
I used to get the recipes every month.
Yeah, I used to send them to you. Yeah, I used to send them to you and to Courtney because he's weird.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about some more out there things that you can do. Things that are, I don't want to say more modern because it may not be more modern, but things that use certain types of modern technology and just some out-of-the-box thinking. And the first one I want to talk about actually goes back to what we just did, because you can use those same softwares for emailing. But one thing that you can do is start connecting with businesses in the local area in a different sort of way. Now, what I mean by that is, for instance, and this is something that we're actually just about to start doing, so I can't necessarily vouch for the effectiveness of it yet. I've talked to other people who say it's very effective. We'll find out here if it is, but creating a local mastermind type group. And so what you do is you take that same stuff we were just doing. You take your software, Lead Kahuna or what have you, you pull up, personal injury lawyers, and you send out a mass mailing to the personal injury lawyers telling them, hey, we're going to be starting a mastermind group. We're looking for one personal injury lawyer in the area who wants to be on here. We're going to be sharing information. We're going to be teaching SEO. We're going to be doing this and that, whatever it is you're going to be doing. And only one injury lawyer can be in it. So first come, first serve, and it's $115 to join the mastermind, et cetera, et cetera. And you do that with each industry. You get somebody from all these different industries. Now you figure if you've got 10, let's say you've got, the last group that I was in had 20 people that would show up on a consistent, and they had the same thing, one in each group. So if you got 20 different industries and you got 20 people in there, and they're all paying you, $115 or whatever, let's say $100, that's $20 times 100. So you made $2,000, and you haven't really sold them anything. Now you get them into that group, and you start doing this stuff, and you start teaching them. Guess who's going to eventually become your client as you're showing them how you do all this stuff? They're paying you to be part of that group, to share information and to do the introductions back and forth and to share customers and all that kind of stuff. But they're going to see that you're the guy that can help them with video and with SEO and with website design and Google My Business and all that. And so now they're going to be paying you at some point in time. They're going to hire you to do that kind of stuff. Just like if you needed a personal injury lawyer and there's one in your group, you're probably going to pay him to do that. It's going to be the same type of thing. So you're going to get some of that business out of that. That's one of the things that we're looking to do right now. And worst case scenario, you made $2,000 and you get to meet with a lot of people and share customers and do referrals and things. So, it's a great way to be able to build on that. And it's a little out of the box. Now, something similar to that, and this is something we're going to give credit where credit is due. This one comes from our old friend Tammy Patzer, and she does what I believe she calls it her media day or something like that. I can't remember exactly what she calls it, but she puts aside a day, and she invites local businesses to come in and shoot videos, and you either do a nice inexpensive thing for them to come and shoot, or even for free sometimes. They come in, they shoot a video on the green screen. You put together a video for them for a nice low price. It's very quick, very straightforward. Boom, 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 boom. But now you've got all these clients. Yeah, they didn't pay thousands of dollars yet, but they're on your client list. They've paid something to you for something, and chances are they're going to want to do more in the future, and maybe do better videos and bigger videos and things like that, and they want to SEO the videos and get them on YouTube, and so that's your opportunity to upsell them onto other things. So you get them in there. It's just like selling some of these products that we mail out about. You sell a low end $17 product. Oh, by the way, you can get 10 times as many if you pay the $40 here. And it's an upsell. So you bring them in, you get them doing the cheap video. Well, hey, if you want us to put it on YouTube, we can set up a YouTube, and that's $800. Boom, we set up the YouTube for them. Oh, you want us to optimize that video? That's $200 on top of that. Boom. And you can build on that just that simple. And of course, they're now your customers. You can follow up with them at all sorts of things in the future. And so that's a great way to do that. And so you do that, you set up a nice little business day. Another thing we're planning to do. So that could be very effective for a lot of people. And I know a lot of people that know Tammy have done this and been very effective with it. So something to think about there. Now, other outside the box ideas. We talked about Kenny Cannon earlier, and he has a great webinar that he does, and I don't have a link to it. Maybe we'll look it up and get it for the show notes later. But he teaches people how to use Facebook Messenger to reach out to the local businesses. And the reason he created this was because he's been teaching people how to do sales, but nobody makes the phone calls. And so he realized, okay, you know what? These people are not going to do the cold calling. He says, it'll work for them if they follow what I do and make the phone calls, but they don't make the phone calls. He says they don't like doing the phone calls. Let's come up with something different. And he put together a plan on how to find people on Facebook Messenger, what to send to those people on Facebook Messenger, and how to get them as clients. And the funny thing is, and boy, I'll tell you, I got to go through that course again so I can start doing it again. But it flat out works. I did exactly what he said, and boom, it worked. We got somebody right away. And it's very, very effective. You target certain people, you say this to them on Facebook Messenger, and you follow through on it, and bam, you get a client. Or if you don't get a client, you get a referral. So Facebook Messenger is another way that you can really do some great things. And if you don't have Kenny's course on that, essentially what you want to be doing is just reaching out to the businesses on there and telling them. One of the things that we did was when SSL became such a big deal and Google was going to penalize people, I went onto Facebook and started messaging businesses in my area saying, hey, I just wanted to let you know this is what's going to be happening. By the way, your site is not secure. It's going to hurt you. And I'd show them a picture where it says not secure, and sent it out to people. And then people would contact back and be like, okay, what do we do to fix this? And boom, here's how you fix it. So it's a nice way to be able to reach out to people, and you don't have to worry about phone. If they don't like it, they just delete you, and you don't have to think about it. So you don't have to be scared of rejection over the phone or anything like that. But you just use Facebook Messenger to reach out to people. It is limited. You're not going to be sending out to 1,000 people in 2 hours. You're going to be sending to 20 people, and then Facebook's going to say, whoa, slow down, and you're not going to be able to do it for a little while, and then you have to go back and do some more. So, Steve, your opinions on that?
Yeah, I did that too. I went through Kenny's course and did that as well, and picked up a handful of deals. The thing that I noticed is that, and this is just anecdotal, but there seems to be a lot less resistance to getting a Facebook Messenger post, or getting a PM. I call them PMs. They just kind of expect it because they want to get them. It's a business. They got a Facebook page. They expect to get PMs. Now they'd rather it be from a potential customer or a current customer, but they don't seem to mind getting it from guys like us.
No, not usually. I've either gotten ignored.
Yeah.
You know, a few people said no, thank you, and some people did it. So, you know, but nothing negative really. And I'll tell you this: I do a lot of mass Facebook messaging. I've got lead lists, and I message them out and everything. And I can tell you right now, you know, a lot of the products that have come out and making these claims about open rates and all this other stuff, it really is true. I was looking at my Facebook messages that I send out. And I'm looking at open rates of 75%, 80%, 68%. So it is very high. I mean, email, the average right now in email is, you know, between 5 and 10% most of the time. If you're getting 13% open rates on an email, you're doing really good these days. And so, you know, you're talking about 78 versus, you know, 10. I mean, that's just a huge difference. Now, the bad part about that is you can't put as much information into a quick little Facebook Messenger thing, but you can put the basic information in a link, and you know the open rates are great. The difficulty is getting people on those leads lists. It's not as easy as obtaining an email list. You know, getting an email list can be a lot easier. So it's a little more difficult, but it is well worth it, and it is very effective. So definitely something to check into is messaging businesses through Facebook Messenger to get new business. So works really well, indeed. And I know we're going way long today, but that's okay because this is really some fun stuff.
Yeah.
One other thing I want to talk about is I kind of alluded to this in the pre-show, and that is I made a video last night insulting Dex and YP.com and Yelp with their video marketing packages. And I did that after a Q&A that we did last night, and that's what prompted me to actually switch to this being the episode today. This wasn't what I was originally planning, but I wanted to switch to this because so many people were talking about this the other night. People that have done videos on sites like Yellow Pages, Dex, Yelp, they are prime targets for doing more video work. One, they cared enough about video to do video, but I can also guarantee they probably despise Yellow Pages and Dex. And the reason for that is they made them a crappy little video. They put it on Dex or on Yellow Pages, and in the case of Yellow Pages, they put it on YouTube, and a year later they've got 5 views, and they're not optimized, and they're paying all this money. I mean, and they're paying good money to these guys. You know, in the old days with something like Yellow Pages, in order to have them do a video, you had to buy like the listing in the Yellow Page book, and you had to have the enhanced listing, and you had to have the web listing and the advanced web listing, and then they'd throw a video in there. So you'd be paying, you know, $1,500 a month, $1,800 per month for the option of having that video on there. And so you can guarantee if you really liked the idea of the video, and maybe they even made a decent one for you, because they're made by individual videographers. Yellow Pages doesn't make any videos. In fact, Yellow Pages hires a company that hires individuals across the country to go out and do all the shooting and putting together these videos. So some are good, some are bad. In the case of the good ones, maybe you got a good video, but you go to the Yellow Page, you know, you look it up on YouTube, and it's got 10 views, and it's been a year, and you've been paying $1,800 a month for a year, you know, so you're at $20,000 that you've paid these guys almost for a video that's got 5 views, and you look at that on YouTube, and the titles are all about Yellow Page. Well, not the titles, but the title is terrible. And the description is all about Yellow Pages. And the only link in there is to Yellow Pages. And in the video I showed last night, the video that we pulled up, it didn't have the company's address. It didn't have the company's phone number. It didn't have the company's website. The only thing it had was a link to Yellow Pages, and it didn't even really have a description at all. It had like one little line, and then it was then it was another line about Yellow Pages, and then a link to their Yellow Page listing, which was, you know, 3 things down on the description. So it was just poorly done, and these guys are not happy. And I used to get a ton of clients, because here's a dirty little secret. I used to shoot the Yellow Page videos in my area. I used to travel around my area shooting the videos for Yellow Pages. And, you know, they paid us fairly well to do that for 2 hours work or so. You know, it was a pretty good deal. But what I discovered was all these clients of Yellow Pages who had made videos, a lot of them started calling me and going, hey, you know that video you did for me? Can you make another video? Because these guys are not doing what they said. And they were all angry. And I started contacting the people that I shot those Yellow Page videos for. And sure enough, over and over and over again, these people were not happy. And they were willing to do something either with that video they shot or create a new video and do something with it. And so they are prime suspects. And that's the same for Yelp. I was telling people before the show started, you know, in that video, I pulled up the Yelp page. When these customers, when these clients, when these local businesses hire Yelp to do a video, Yelp sends somebody out to shoot this video for them. And one of the FAQs right on Yelp's page is, hey, can I put this video on my website or share it on social media? And the answer is no. It says you do not have any distribution rights to this video whatsoever. So you're paying them to shoot a video on your property with you in the video, and then you have no rights whatsoever to that video, and you pay them for it, and you pay monthly, and the minute you stop paying monthly, you lose it all. It's gone. So it's an absolute waste of time, and these are the prime suspects because, or the prime candidates because they're angry about these things. They know they can't use the stuff that they did. They know it's got potential, but they're paying all this money for, you know, nothing. And this is your opportunity to come in, be the hero, and believe me, people will pay you to do that, and they'll be excited to do it. And it's worked numerous times for us over the years. So that's another really great source. And you know, I think that's a good area to stop there, is because you know, this whole subject makes me cranky.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. Well, I can understand why. I've done a number of things for attorneys that were in the same situation. I got this video. Now, in their case, it was Yellow Pages, so they could use it.
Most of them are Yellow Pages, by the way. That seems to be the big one.
I got this video. What do I do with it? And, well, what if I syndicate it for you and chop it up and make other videos and syndicate it some more? And I made a little money off of that. That was kind of nice, you know. And even I can do that.
Now, and the thing about this too, by the way, here's the approach to this is, if they've shot a video already, it's a great opportunity. Because here's the thing. Right now, Yellow Pages, like I said before, you had to pay that $1,500, $1,800, whatever. They've got a new deal now. You can pay, I think it's like $120 a month, and they'll come out, they'll shoot the video, and you pay that every month, and they'll put it out there, and they'll market it. In fact, on their very page, it says, if you make an amateur video and nobody sees it, it's not worth the time and money. Well, you know, honestly, you look at theirs. If you've gotten 18 views in 2 years from a Yellow Page video that they've got on YouTube, aren't you wasting your time and money? By their own definition, you know, if nobody sees it, it's a waste of time and money. So if you can do that, but here's the thing too. Even if these people have not done a Yelp video or a Yellow Pages video or a Dex video, this is your opportunity to hit them up, because as far as I know, I believe with Yellow Pages, and I'm pretty sure with Yelp, you don't have to use their video service. You can have a video made and put it on there while you have your listing. And that way you own that video and it's yours, and then you're using it on there. So that's something that you may want to think about if you're going to go that route, is you create your own video, have it produced, because you can get it produced a lot cheaper. You know, $120 a month doesn't sound like much until, you know, you've had it up there for 2 years. You know, and then all of a sudden you're talking about a $2,500 video that you could probably have had produced for $300, and so, or even used your phone and produced something nearly as good as what they did, or even better than what they did. In fact, the video that I showed that these guys were paying this money for was a quote 360 video, which it wasn't a 360 video. It was somebody shot a 360 video, or probably a 360 still, and then turned it into a video by recording them panning around this thing. So it was awful. It was absolutely awful video, and they were paying all that money for it. So believe me, you can do much better by finding somebody locally to do that for those businesses, and you can be the person that does that for them. So reach out to them in that regard as well, because that's another thing that you can sell there. So, all right, Steve, we've gone for an hour now, believe it or not. So maybe we need to cut it short there before I get more cranky about this whole Yellow Page thing.
Yeah, well, this is good stuff. Yeah, this is good stuff, though. And it's the radio show about video marketing bandits with Ray the Video Guy. And I'm Steve Sleeper on the Earn Show Podcast Network. And today's show made possible by
we're going to change it up. I said free video editor at the beginning. Well, how about this? Since this show was about leads, today's episode is made possible by Lead Kahuna now.
Lead Kahuna.
Making an executive decision here. What do they call it in football? I'm drawing a blank here when they change the play. What's it called?
Audible.
An audible. We're calling an audible. Thank you. I'm losing my mind here, too. We're calling an audible. We're changing it. This episode is now made possible by Lead Kahuna, and you can see our free webinar on Lead Kahuna by going to raisebonuses.com/leads. See how we get leads each and every day, hundreds at a time, with just a few minutes work. And you can check it out there at raisebonuses.com/leads. There you go.
Cool.
Called an audible.
Well, let's get out of here. Play that
All
funky
right.
music.
Let's
white
play
boy.
that funky music. Here we go.
He's Ray the video guy, yeah, Ray the video guy. His skill is where it's at, even if he's a little fat. He's filled with video expertise and has so much knowledge that you need. His YouTube ninja tricks can make your marketing so sick. He's Ray the video guy, yeah, Ray the video guy.